anti-wrinkle injections are designed to relax the muscles, the facial muscles, which then helps to soften or treat the dynamic lines or wrinkles caused by us expressing ourselves. So anti-wrinkle injections are administered into the facial muscle, the relevant facial muscles. Why we get lines is because we are constantly using our facial muscles to have expressions, and those expressions are the ones that cause the lines. So by then relaxing the muscles, it then helps to eradicate or soften the lines. Right, so we've got two different types of products, product A and product B. Legally, we can't mention a product name, but both the products contain the toxin called botulinum toxin, and that's the one that actually treats the muscle and relaxes the muscle. So it's just two different brands with the same toxin. So we've got to first assess the patient, or assess the client, see what their needs are, and then we would address their biggest area of concern. And then once we work out their concern, we then do an assessment and see how, so the level of severity of the lines. Some people have very mild lines, some moderate, some severe. And then we've got to work out the relevant dosage. And once the dosage is worked out, we would then, I would then administer the toxin in the relevant area. So, for example, the common areas we treat are the frown. The frown is the area between the two eyebrows. And then we also treat the forehead lines, which is, and we also treat the lines around the eyes, which is called the crow's feet. So these are common areas. So once we've assessed the client, we'll then know how many units, how many units they need, and then we would draw it up and administer accordingly. It's basically, it very much depends on what the client's concerns are. And based on the concerns, I would also give them advice. And part of my consulting is to always balance their wants and what they need. But predominantly it's based on their main concern areas. And then once we've come to be what I've explained to them, we come to an agreement, and then we'll go ahead and treat. So it very much depends on their biggest area of concern and what is causing the biggest issue for them. That's how we decide which areas to treat. Absolutely safe. It is a toxin, but because it's locally applied to the muscle areas, it's extremely safe. There's no short or long-term adverse effects. The only thing that we have to do, or clients have to do, is for the 4 hours immediately after injections, they're going to take some precautions. And precautions are, for example, not lying flat, not lifting anything heavy, no exercise, and no facial massage. But that's only pretty much just for 4 hours after treatment. Again, pain and tolerability varies from client to client. By and large, it doesn't hurt. But we've also got in our clinic a numbing agent that we use before we inject. And that numbing agent often takes the sting out of the needle. But they're very tiny needles, and they really, by and large, they don't hurt. And it's very, very easily done. It doesn't really hurt. But we've got the option of using a numbing agent if the clients request so, or if a client feels that the pain's a bit too much. But generally, it doesn't hurt. Really, it kicks in in a few days, 3 to 4 days, but really it's up to 7 days to kind of have the first kick in. And to get the full results takes up to 2 weeks. But also, we've got to remember that the actual kick-in is up to 7 days. That varies from client to client. Some people get a response in 2 or 3 days. It's also product A and product B can have a different kick-in period. But as a general rule, it's up to 7 days to kick in and 2 weeks for full results. Generally, so one of the things that I'm very focused on is to give people a very natural look. And the idea is to look natural and rejuvenated. And I have to say that treating the lines or the wrinkles does significantly rejuvenate and give a very refreshed look. But my goal is always to give a very natural look. And in terms of their in that 2 week period, someone who's never had anti-wrinkle before, they might feel a bit uncomfortable, the muscles suddenly not moving as easily. But then they'll get used, that kind of lasts for a couple of days, and they get used to that. But people who've had regular anti-wrinkle really had no problems in that 2 weeks. So they will not look fake, they will not look overdone. But really the main thing is people who have never had anti-wrinkle in the past, the new clients can feel a bit, so because muscles stop moving, they feel a bit different, but nothing major. And then that's just a day or two, and then it all settles down. So by and large, the notable side effects that can happen is bruising, redness, swelling. But the needles are so tiny, the bruising never really happens, hardly happens, I should say. Should not say never, hardly happens. And they have a bit of redness. Some people have a bit of redness just after injection. That normally settles in 10 to 15 minutes. But that's about it really. There's no other side effects or no other adverse effects to this. The price varies can be as low as $150. It can go up to $300, $400. It pretty much depends on number of units, how many areas you're treating, all that kind of stuff. So the price is always discussed with the client. Once I've worked out their concerns of what they really need, we work out a number of units, and it's always by the number of units. And then we'll give them the pricing based on that. But it could range anything from $100, $150 to even up to $600. By and large, it lasts for about 3 months, generally 3 months. And they do get, potentially, some people do get a bit of longevity. Once they've been on regular anti-wrinkle treatment, they do get a bit of extra longevity, but generally it's 3 months. And what we would definitely recommend is to something that we would then advise to then maintain the treatment, which then turns into a prevention mode. So from treatment, the anti-wrinkle then becomes a prevention mode. It doesn't take very long, it takes about 20 minutes to do it. Can be done anytime in a lunch break, as long as people can fulfill those 4-hour precautions post-treatment. You can be done anytime, lunchtime or before work, can be done anytime. It's done in my rooms, and it's a pretty straightforward procedure. Basically, they should just take it easy, as long as they don't bend and don't exercise and don't bend over and don't do any kind of heavy lifting. You can pretty much carry on with normal life, but just these sort of particular precautions you've got to avoid. The way to maintain really is to do it on a regular basis. So every 3 to 3.5 months to come in and do a regular treatment. And there's also potential when it becomes from treatment to prevention, the potential for the units to become less because you become the prevention, And that then also becomes more cost effective rather than starting it, leaving a long gap and coming back after 6 months or 12 months. So always better to do regularly, and that becomes the prevention. It makes them look good all the time. It helps them to look good all the time. At the same time, it becomes cost effective. I guess the commonest combination is with dermal fillers, but it can be combined with any treatment. But if they are doing, for example, dermal fillers, they can do it all on the same day. But if they're doing a laser treatment, we've got to make sure it's timed correctly. It's like I wouldn't do a laser treatment just after anti-wrinkle. So we just got to make sure it's timed correctly. But by and large, it can be combined with any treatment. Just got to make sure the timing is correct. That's all. For all kind of new clients that come in who've never anti-wrinkle before, I do start on a fairly conservative dose. I don't rush and necessarily give the standard dose because we're never sure how each one's muscle is going to react. So I'd rather sort of start slow and work my way up. So what I would do is see them and start on a more conservative dose and then review at the 2-week mark and then top it up if we have to top it up. This then allows it, so prevents them having any side effects or adverse effects from having too much Botox or anti-wrinkle.